beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights from the unseen, and we go as guided. And whew, action-packed. We were off last week. We are back this week. They said take last week off, rest, because this week coming back, it was going to feel like you're being shot out of a cannon, and there's a lot astrologically going on. And so we're going to jump in because we're going to play a little bit of catch up here in terms of the energies to set the stage for our main theme, which is incredible. So on Monday, so let's just go. Welcome, Olivia. Welcome, Alicia. And as you're joining from around the globe, put a shout out in the comments. And remember that we incorporate your comments and questions live throughout the broadcast. So let's just take a look. We're going to jump right into the astrological influences because there's so much to cover this week. So on Monday, the 29th of July, the moon was conjunct Uranus at 26 degrees Taurus. Why is this important? Well, because it was conjunct at the same degree back on the 15th of July. This is where Mars and Uranus were conjunct, and they were conjunct Algol, that very infamous star that is, it's a malevolent star. It's known as a malevolent star. So on Monday, the 29th, 2 weeks later, the moon is triggering this same point. And so that's one aspect that's important. Then on the 31st, which is today, 7/31, and this was why the unseen said to take last week off, and I kept looking forward to July 31st. July is named after its origin is based on Julius Caesar. And I kept seeing July 31, July 31. And it had this image of fireworks going off and joy and celebration and liberty and freedom and independence. And it just kept coming back over and over and over again. And if I went to say 7/31, they corrected me. The unseen corrected me. No, it's July 31. So this July 31st, Independence Day. And of course, in the United States, Independence Day is July 4th. However, here we are at the end of the month, July 31, and this theme of Julius Caesar, Independence Day, and really it's about Independence Day. And there's this aspect of what's occurring today. So I'm going to bounce for a minute here because this comes from The Guardian. It's STARWATCH. July to end with stunning celestial grouping. Crescent moon will appear with Pleiades star cluster, Jupiter and Mars, and the brightest star, ALDEBARAN. So July ends with a spectacular grouping of celestial objects in the eastern pre-dawn skies. The waning crescent moon will appear with the Pleiades star cluster, and the Pleiades is known as the Seven Sisters. There's a great mythology behind the Pleiades. Very auspicious. It's one of three that is specifically named in the Bible. So Orion, the Pleiades, and the Great Bear, the Big Dipper, the Great Bear, are the three that are specifically named in the Bible. So the waning crescent moon will appear with the Pleiades star cluster, the planets Jupiter and Mars, and the bright star Aldebaran for 2 consecutive mornings. The grouping takes place in the constellation of Taurus, the bull. This is where Mars and Uranus were conjunct with Algol. This is where the moon was just conjunct with Uranus. So again, and the moon reveals, and Uranus, expect the unexpected. We're in Taurus, it's Earth, meaning it will be tangible, literal, tangible, physical. So it's going to be in the constellation of Taurus the bull, with several of the constellation's stars adding to the spectacle. Aldebaran is a red giant star 40 times the full radius of our sun and 400 times more luminous. The Pleiades is a collection of hundreds of stars, of which a handful are visible to the naked eye, the 7. This gives rise to the popular name of the Seven Sisters. The bright star in the cluster is Alcyone. And so, sorry, I just wanted to catch. So this grouping will be visible to the naked eye and everything. So Independence Day, we have this kind of unique pairing that's going on, and with Jupiter, blessings, expansion, Mars, divine masculine leading the way. So in essence, the purity of the divine masculine and the creative force to initiate, to take action and so forth. And it's very interesting because, again, I'm going to bounce back to the astrological influences here, that we see how then on the 4th of August coming up, this is on the Sunday, upcoming Sunday, we have the Leo new moon, we have Venus entering Virgo, and then we have Mercury stationing retrograde. So, and typically, of course, Mercury retrograde, people are like, well, again, it means to slow down and so forth, but it's in its home. It's in Virgo. It will regress into Leo for a little bit and then move back into Virgo. But it's in its home domicile. So it's a little bit more pragmatic, assistful, this Mercury retrograde. So the point, though, is this July 31st, and why July 31st is about Independence Day. And so we're setting the stage here. Remember, we're setting a stage. And with the astrological influences, the theme is the final frontier. Well, of course, that's a Star Trek statement. It's associated with Star Trek Enterprise. And it says, where no man has gone before is a phrase made popular through its use in the title sequence of the original 1966 to 1969 Star Trek science fiction television series, describing the mission of the Starship Enterprise. The complete introductory speech spoken by William Shatner as Captain James T. Kirk at the beginning of each episode is space, the final frontier. So we have these celestial events, as above, so below. So we have these space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission. 5 denotes change, advancement. Welcome, Deborah. To explore strange new worlds. So it's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. We are in this moment, this era of switching from Piscean to Aquarian, patriarchal to matriarchal. And this expansion, this Starship Enterprise moment, this 5-year mission, if you will, of transition. And remember, we began the weekly Wisdom and Insights journey in 2021. By 2026, 5 years, everything rights itself. We get it right. We are on the path, and you're going to see this, we're on the path to victory, to revelation, unity, imagination. Imagination is our key word. And I just want to bring that up. So here's our key word, imagination. And we have this beautiful and powerful words with imagination. So imagination, the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. So we're imagining something to be. We're meeting it. We're rising up to meet it. The ability of the mind to be creative or resourceful. The part of us, the part of the mind that imagines things. And this is a statement, it says, one of the greatest gifts that God has given you is the gift of imagination. It's the ability to see things, to think and to create with mental pictures in your mind. The reason you have this gift is because God imagines. The Bible tells us that God imagined the entire universe and it was thus created. So we're teeing up this theme of what the actual overall message is and what the overall theme is and how we tie this image of July 31st, this celebration and fireworks and joy and independence, literally Independence Day, with victory. And our main theme, which is Columbia, what the moon reveals. So we have this star watch going on, this star watch that is occurring. We're closing the month of July with that combined grouping of the crescent moon, the Pleiades, Aldebaran, Jupiter, and Mars. With Columbia, what the moon reveals. And remember, the moon denotes the divine feminine, and she reflects the light, and she also reveals what's hidden. And so in Columbia is, amazingly so, is of course what America was known as. And so we're going to go through a piece here of this. We're going to start with the, this is from the National Museum of American History. And it says, the name Columbia finds its roots in Latin, where it originated from the word columba, meaning a dove. This symbolic association with the dove conveys characteristics such as peace, harmony, and gentleness. Soon enough, Columbia would be personified into a fierce goddess. She's been drawn in many ways throughout history, but always as a strong, independent woman. The Aquarian, we the people, matriarchal era being depicted throughout history as a strong, independent woman. In 1791, a commission was formed to create the federal city. They had many tasks, such as designing the city and making zoning laws for the city. They also had the responsibility for naming the capital. In the end, they decided that it would be the city of Washington and the territory of Columbia because of the iconic name. So literally, the capital of the United States, the embodiment, if you will, of the free world, the ideal, liberty, justice, equality, freedom, for all, we the people, inalienable rights. All of this was embodied in an image, a persona of the divine feminine. They continue, before Uncle Sam and Lady Liberty were created, Columbia was an idealized feminine figure that personified the new nation of America. The concept was created in 1697 when Chief Justice Samuel Sewall of the Massachusetts Bay Colony wrote a poem that suggested that the American colonies be called Columbina, a feminized version of Christopher Columbus's last name. Welcome, Sue. Over 70 years later, the name evolved when former slave Phyllis Wheatley wrote an ode to George Washington invoking Columbia in 1775. Imagine, so we're talking about over 70 years later, the name evolved when a former slave, Phyllis Wheatley, wrote an ode to George Washington, the first president, invoking Columbia in 1775. Fast forward 247 years later, we have the first African and Asian descent female in the United States running for president. Over time, the image of Columbia became a symbol for American ideals during wars such as the American Revolution, Pluto in Aquarius, not since the American-French revolutions, the Industrial Revolution, the War of 1812 and World War I, as well as the subject of political cartoons and literary works. With her liberty cap and patriotic shield, Columbia stood as the spirit of the country. So we are embodied, and it's not just the United States that we're speaking to. This speaks to the world. Welcome, Genevieve. We're speaking, bonjour. We're speaking to the world about the ideals of liberty, freedom, equality the divine feminine, this independent, strong woman who has her liberty cap and her patriotic shield, and that she embodies, she represents and stands for this spirit that we all embody, that we all hold dear. It doesn't matter where you are on the globe, in what country. It's innate within humanity, these traits, these qualities of liberty and freedom and justice. And her impact, Columbia's impact, and her impact can still be seen in the naming of companies such as Columbia University, Columbia Records, and CBS, Columbia Broadcasting System. So this, bringing up the main theme again, this Columbia, what the moon reveals. So again, remember on the 29th of July, the moon is conjunct Uranus with Algol. It's triggering that point that occurred on the 15th, where it was Mars and Uranus conjunct Algol. Now we come forward to the 31st, and there's this big display. And the images of an Independence Day celebration. So victory, celebration, fireworks, liberty, freedom. And this is the unseen working, just incredible magic. Because I really sat with how does this all come together? This image of the 31st of July, Independence Day, and then all of a sudden, Columbia, and this STARWATCH, and what the moon reveals. What the moon reveals. There will be, and because Uranus is involved, and many of these other Mars, Uranus, Algol, Aldebaran, Jupiter, Mars, the Pleiades, it's speaking to expansion. It's speaking to advance. The Star Trek Enterprise, the last frontier. We're moving beyond what is known. We are we are in new territory, a whole new world. And thus, it comes with its, anxiety and its joy. It comes with its perhaps hesitation and anticipation. It comes with its liberty, its release, and its fear and enslavement. And it means that we rise to the occasion. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to continue with Columbia. And this is from the food history, thefoodhistorian.com. And let me just share my screen. There we are. And this is by Sarah Wasberg. And this is an image. So World War Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Weekly Wisdom and Insights. Sow the seeds of victory. And this is from the early 1900s. And I just want to sit with this moment, with this image. Here she is, Columbia. She has her basket of seeds that she is sowing. She has a Phrygian cap on. She is dressed in a dress that resembles the United States flag. So sow the seeds of victory. Plant and raise your own vegetables. Now, at the time, as we get into this was the early 1900s, and of course this was against the backdrop of war, and it was about, and this specifically was about enlisting, if you will, the American populace to plant their own gardens. Again, fast forward to 2024, and the analogy is the same. Sow the seeds of victory. Sowing the seeds of victory means tending to our own gardens, our souls, our homes, our institutions and governments and cities and businesses. Because what we plant, we raise, we harvest, we reap. And so again, what is it that we are looking? Yes, Genevieve is saying, I'm Canadian, but the dress is gorgeous to me. It's applicable. This is not, and Alicia saying Victory Gardens. While this is against the backdrop of the examples of the United States, again, this is inherent and innate in all of us. What Columbia represents is the ideal. And the unseen has been saying to us, the ideal becomes the new reality. So everything we've been striving for, because it's new territory, we move beyond the last frontier. We go beyond what we know. So, in every garden, a munition plant. So, this is one of the more famous food-related posters of the First World War, created by famous illustrator and artist James Montgomery Flagg. Sow the Seeds of Victory, and its sister poster below, which we're coming to. Will you have a part in victory? So sow the seeds of victory, and will you have a part in victory? See, we have a choice. We have a choice as to what we choose. We have a choice in this moment to go beyond where we've ever been before, to deliver ourselves, to plant our gardens, and to harvest such a wondrous crop of nourishment, of advance, of victory. So, sow the seeds of victory, and its sister poster, Will You Have a Part in Victory, were both produced by the National War Garden Commission, headed by Charles Lathrop Pack. The bottom of each poster reads, Every garden a munition plant, with instructions in the lower right-hand corners reading, Write to the National War Garden Commission, Washington, D.C., for free books on gardening, canning, and drawing. So, every garden a munition plant. This is speaking to the fact that each one of us, every vote counts. Every choice matters. What you do in this lifetime matters, because we are literally paving the way. And I want to bring this in very quickly. It's our mantra. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on the shoulders of everyone who has come before us. This is an iconic moment. It is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. This transition from Piscean to Aquarian, patriarchal to matriarchal. And we each chose, every 8 billion souls chose to be here at this moment, to bear witness, to participate, to plant their garden, to sow the seeds of victory with the question, will you have a part in victory? What will you choose to play your role? Genevieve, if everyone planted one thing and loved it, it would be a whole other world. It would be a whole new world. And she's saying her first sunflower bloomed today. And we know that the sunflower has been an iconic element in the Weekly Wisdom and Insights journey. And she's saying new territory. Exactly. So moving back to this, I'm going to share my screen again here. So the posters both feature the same image. The United States embodied as Columbia, striding boldly, sandaled feet, marching through a fresh plowed field, and broadcasting seed from a round basket. Columbia wears her classic style dress in the colors of the American flag, red, white, and blue, and wears a Phrygian cap on her head, a symbol of freedom and liberty. She's sowing victory. She's sowing liberty, the embodiment of liberty, equality, justice, nourishment, harmony, nourishment. The poster implies that by planting gardens, ordinary Americans could, quote, sow the seeds of victory and plant and raise your own vegetables. See, we can plant and raise our own ideals. The purity of the ideal is the new reality. We have the ability to both plant and harvest, receive, reap these rewards, helping the war effort both literally and symbolically. Although every garden a munitions plant is a bit on the nose, the martial language helped reinforce the importance of growing vegetables at home, rather than consuming fuel and war material by purchasing vegetables grown far away or canned commercially. See, this is speaking to the fact that we always say it's an inside job. There's nothing that we need that we don't have that is outside of us. It's all internal. It's our soul source connection. And so in this same analogy where we're talking about that they were encouraging people, they were reinforcing the importance of growing the vegetables at home. Well, the unseen is reinforcing the message that says, you matter. Your choices, they count. Sow the seeds of victory. Will you participate? Will you do what's innate within you? Will you rise to the occasion? What are you choosing to do? And remember, you can do it right where you are. You can do it from your internal soul source connection, your innate light. It is not something that you go out and purchase. It's already within you. Gives me goosebumps. So, going back to sharing. So, and here's the beautiful image, the poster. Will you have a part in victory? Beautiful image. I'll post these after the show in the Facebook threads. The phrasing of the first poster is more in line with the sentiment of the image and was likely the first produced. Will you have a part in victory implies that the viewers may have already seen the first poster and understand its original intent. Ironically, I'm skipping a piece of this. Ironically, James Montgomery Flagg, who created these images of Columbia, helped hasten the demise of Columbia as a symbol of the United States. His depiction of Uncle Sam, first featured on the July 6, 1916 cover of Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper, asking, "What are you doing for preparedness?" And this harks back to John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, this is, again, expand that same philosophy outward to the fact of this is an iconic moment. It doesn't matter what country you're in, what religion, it's universal. The point here is that we are in a moment of transition, of exceeding where we've been. It's unknown, it's foreign to us, and it is filled with opportunity. And the interesting, ironically, James Montgomery Flagg helped hasten the demise of Columbia. So the shadow aspects of the divine masculine of the Piscean era hastened the demise of Columbia, the divine feminine. And in this analogy, in this example, Columbia as a symbol of the United States. And his depiction of Uncle Sam eclipsed it. He later repurposed the image, inspired by Britain's Lord Kirchner, into the famous "I Want You" Army recruitment poster, which was so effective it was recycled for the Second World War. By the 1930s, Uncle Sam and his feminine counterpart, Aunt Sammy — I don't know how many people have heard about Aunt Sammy because I certainly hadn't. So what we clearly know is Uncle Sam. And that in essence, Uncle Sam had completely superseded Columbia as a symbol of the United States. So it's vitally important for us to remember what was at the bedrock of humanity. The divine feminine, Columbia, representing the ideal. At one point in time, the divine feminine was adored, revered, and there are certainly to this day, still some cultures where that is so. However, in that sense, we have lost our way because the shadow aspect of the divine masculine, the Piscean patriarchal era, overtook it, overcame it, diminished it. And we, the way it comes to me, thank God above, thank the Lord above, we are returning to an era where the divine feminine reclaims her rightful place, her equality, her partnership, her presence, and we are all the better for it. Yin, yang, light, dark, these polarities. When polarities are in harmony, in balance, what a beautiful state the world is in. What a beautiful state. And that's what we are coming to. And so with that, again, just a reminder, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And we have this beautiful piece in the fact that it's from Sir Isaac Newton. He's a famous English scientist, once said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." Of course, Newton wasn't literally standing on the shoulders of giants. Newton was explaining that his ideas didn't come from him alone. He relied on the ideas of those who came before him. So the ideal becomes the new reality. And in this, we all win. We are collectively building, releasing, purifying, advancing to this new age, this new era, this new moment, this new frontier. So, and with that, the unseen, number 3 from the unseen, Columba, a dove. And remember, the Holy Spirit is represented by a dove. And they said, so Columba, a dove, a clean slate, a redo, a do-over. But it's advanced. It's not going back to redo it. It's advancing forward. It's a clean slate. It's a redo. It's a do-over, but as we move forward, not rewind the clock. Never in time have we rewound the clock. The arc of destiny moves forward. So we have this beautiful, and Columba, a dove, the Holy Spirit. It's with the unseen. It's with the full force and effect of the unseen, moving through us, moving with us, and they are highlighting, the unseen is highlighting in such a magnificent way. Sow the seeds of victory. And within us, it doesn't matter whether you're in a gender, male or female, or somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. We have divine masculine and divine feminine embodied within each of us. The goal here is to seize upon the harmony, the equality, the equanimity, the liberty and the justice of them within us. We do that, it ripples out. Each seed, each garden, each seed planted, each garden tended to, reaps this reward, this nourishment. Let's quickly look at the main energies. And so this is the last day of the armies, legions, correct discipline. We have everything we've ever needed. It is true throughout eternity. There is nothing outside of us. 31, and we're going to look at this. It's hexagram 31, influence, wooing, woo, what we attract. The entire goal is uniting, coming together from the inside out, from one individual soul to the next, to 8 billion souls on the planet. 19, approach, advance, See, the time is here, the time is now, and we're advancing. 10, tread cautious, treading cautious advance. We walk with care, with consciousness. And then here we are, that 1, remember the moon, Columbia, what the moon reveals. The crescent moon is with the Pleiades, Aldebaran, Jupiter, and Mars. Mars represents the creative force, the divine masculine, and it means initiate. And so let's move to hexagram 31 ever so quickly. And its action is to woo. And wooing, it means influence and wooing, so to woo. So to have influence, to make an impact. And how do we do that? By attracting, wooing, attracting. Its hidden influence, 44, coming to meet, encounter. So we're coming to meet and encounter this aspect of ourselves, the Holy Spirit, the dove, the divine feminine aspects of ourselves. We're coming to meet our maker. All of this is coming to us. It's an encounter. Its underlining cause is decrease. Evaluate. So look at how it's been the crumbling, the dismantling of the Piscean patriarchal era. That Pluto is there shaking the roots, the foundation, loose so that we can be replanted in a bigger pot, a larger pot. Wooing is how you attract those things that you desire. And then this is a quote by Emerson. It's one of our first quotes. Great hearts steadily send forth the secret forces that incessantly draw great events. Great hearts, great events, and that they incessantly draw them forward. This is what we're talking about, and that they're secret forces. See, it's innate within us. We already have everything we need. And this is hexagram 31 from Carrie Hone at cafeausoul.com. When the joyful lake sits upon the sturdiness of the mountain, one is ascending and the other is descending. The lake nourishes the mountain, while it is the mountain that causes the rain to fall and fill the lake. See, they're in harmony with one another. They're assisting one another. The simplest image is yin yang, harmony. Wooing is the idea of seeking win-win solutions where all parties benefit by coming together. It's number 6 from the unseen, unity. It's underlined with exclamation points. Wooing is the idea of seeking win-win solutions where all parties benefit by coming together. In courtship, something profound happens between individuals who feel a mutual attraction. While they may not understand why, they feel more complete being together. The situation has the effect of pulling you forward because it feels right. See, there's a knowing. There's a knowing that moving forward, that's what is before us. What came before and what is literally before us is right. It's not about going backwards. It's not about stopping time or cleaving to an old way or allowing fear to overcome or override faith. Faith in the unseen, faith in the divine, faith in your innate being, your soul. Anything outside of that, it's ego, mind, personality. It's monkey mind, chatter, telling you otherwise, making you fear. But you don't fear the frontier, the new frontier. You seize it. What lies beyond? How would we have ever gotten to the moon? We had to do it by faith, by intrigue, by belief that we could do it. And we, all the people, look at the different countries that were pursuing to be the first to the moon. What the moon reveals. They didn't go to Mars or Jupiter or Saturn or Neptune. They went to the moon. Because the moon revealed, in that aspect, the moon revealed our greatness. she revealed our oneness, our reciprocity, a win-win situation. Affection attracts affection, and obstruction attracts obstruction. The hidden influence of coming to meet suggests that you are attracting the experiences of which your mind is currently focused. What we focus on, we attract. Woo your experiences the way a suitor would woo another. Focus on the positive, complimenting life for making you stronger and wiser. See, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. This isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. So yes, there's transition and there's, again, anxiety and anticipation and so forth. However, the point is to woo it like we would someone that we're excited about, or a person, a place, a thing, and focus on the positive, complimenting life for making you stronger and wiser. Cherish the gifts that come to you each day. Smile, it makes you attractive. Where the underlying cause of evaluation or decrease was a period to understand loss and how to make the best of it, the time has now come to open to how life is affecting you. Open to how you are affecting life with your outlook. See, this is, again, it's like the simplest thing, paying it forward, holding a door open, smiling at someone. All of these things are within us. They're not external. We don't purchase them at the store. It's not material. It's something we sow. And we reap the harvest of that garden. Like attracts like, obstruction attracts obstruction. Wooing or influence is how you activate this spontaneous attraction that is always reciprocated. You must only be vigilant in romancing experience and not overlaying it with your beliefs. See, we romance the experience without any attachment to the outcome, with the purity of intention, without overlaying it with our beliefs. Whether it is the lover who opens to love or the farmer who uses the seasons to plant, it is by virtue of what you do that you reap. And we have this beautiful second quote, like attracts like, obstruction attracts obstruction. So again, what is the garden that you are planting and tending to? Is it a garden of possibility, of new frontier, of advance, of nourishment, of opportunity? Or is it one of obstruction? Because again, whether it is the lover who opens to love or the farmer who uses the seasons to plant, it is by virtue of what you do, the choices we make, that you reap, that you experience. With this, it's number 4, and from the unseen. And they said, imagine. And we've had this before, the John Lennon song, Imagine. Our keyword, imagination. And with this, a portion of the lyrics from Imagine. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. This imperfect unity, imperfect harmony around the globe, we have the opportunity to bring out the best, to be in cooperation, in harmony, in unity, in collaboration with one another. It is only the shadow aspect of the divine masculine, and that's in both male and female and in between. Whatever, it's the divine masculine aspect within us, the shadow aspect that drives division, oppression, suppression, hate, fear. that is the part that is being purged, cleansed, purified. As we move to the new moon, this is our astrological chart for the new moon that is occurring on Sunday. And there are some beautiful Sabian symbols with this. However, before I go to that, I want to go to number 5 from the unseen, which is revelation. So we have these powerful words: imagine, imagination, revelation, unity, STARWATCH, and revelation, a surprising or previously unknown fact. So COLUMBA, what the moon reveals. A surprising and previously, and Uranus is involved, a surprising and previously unknown fact, especially one that is made known in a dramatic way. The divine or supernatural disclosure to humans of something relating to human existence or the world. So think about the definition, the meaning of revelation, the new frontier, or pardon me, the final frontier, as above, so below, this STARWATCH moment that's occurring on the 31st, the lead ups on the 15th and the 29th, and how we're moving forward. It's imagine the possibilities, imagine the new, in unity, in harmony with yourself, because remember, this is an inside job. So in the micro, it's our individual self, individual relationships that expand out, ripple out, connect the master weaver with the tapestry, and how that tapestry reveals and evolves us forward. And so before we finish up with the Sabian symbols, the last thing, it was number 2 that the unseen said, and this was quite, I'm going to say it and then I'll explain it. They said, in the middle of the market, and then they put in parens the word commerce. So in the middle of the market meaning commerce, you will find hidden treasure or hidden treasures. So in the middle of the market, commerce, you will find hidden treasures. And immediately, there was an image and a sense and a feeling of ancient markets. So the Middle East, Morocco, going back to the ancient markets, and how, we have kind of like antique markets and the big fair type markets and everything. This is speaking to, and then there was an image of like Aladdin and the Cave of Wonders and the genie and the lamp. So there's something in regards to antiquities, and this was very puzzling. And what the unseen has guided me to have you all do is sit with this in meditation. Sit with this in the middle of the market, commerce. You will find hidden treasures. They're giving me the image of when Master Jesus was at the temple in Jerusalem and he tossed the carts. Because again, the outer temple was where the Gentiles were meant to receive God, and instead they've been taken over by money changers and merchants, commerce. So in the middle of the market, commerce, you will find hidden treasure or hidden treasures. And the unseen is asking us to sit with this image of the markets of antiquities and see, and what they're saying is, see what your soul reveals to you. Remember Columbia, she's out there sewing, and the war effort said, don't go out and buy it. Plant it at home. Do your part. So here, this is in the middle of the market, in the center of you, your soul center, your soul source connection. This is where you transact. This is where you communicate with the divine. This is where you receive. You will find hidden treasures. Hidden treasure or hidden treasures. And because they're ancient, they're of antiquity, and it's like the Cave of Wonders and Aladdin and the genie, who of course granted 3 wishes. So treasures, you can see that each of you will receive a revelation. Each of you will be advanced and moved forward. Each of you will know what to do with what you have, what is innate with you. And what you have isn't something that you've purchased. It's not material. It's innate. And so by sitting with this image, it will reveal itself. So last but not least, I want to look at a few of the SABIAN symbols that go with the Leo new moon. And again, here's the chart for it. So we have this beautiful it's very auspicious new moon. And of course, it happens early in the morning, I believe around 9-10 o'clock a.m. Pacific in the United States. And then later in the evening is when Mercury goes retrograde. So, and then Venus in between, Venus enters Virgo. So, and remember our other keywords from the last 2 weeks. One was Renaissance, meaning it's French for rebirth, and the other was illumination. So we have Renaissance, a rebirth, illumination, imagination. These 3 very powerful words. So, and this is very interesting. So on the 15th of July, the 29th of July, pardon me, on the 29th, this 26 degrees of Taurus, which is where Mars and Uranus and Algol were conjunct, and Moon, Uranus, Algol conjunct. The Sabian symbol for this is an old Indian woman selling the artifacts of her tribe to passers-by. And this is in relation to the collective. The keynote is peaceful adaptation to collective needs. So in this, in contrast to the impetuosity of the Spanish serenader, impetuosity showing undue haste or unexpectedness, we now see the quiet and smiling face of an old Indian woman offering for sale the traditional products of her tribal culture. She too is functioning within the culture which has been sustaining her activity through a long life, bringing to her personal peace and inner contentment. In old age, the power of the collectivity once more reasserts itself. So the power of the collectivity reasserts itself over the individual, the I. So we the people, the power of the collectivity, we the people, once more reasserts itself, overcoming the perhaps wearying effort one makes to assert their uniqueness and individual character. See, when we think that it's outside of us, then we're in competition and we're making these Herculean efforts to be seen. Here I am, here I am, here. That's all ego, mind, personality. As opposed to when we operate from our soul, from our unity, our harmony, I am. What is. We show up, but we're not in competition with anyone. We simply stay focused on the greatness that is us, that comes through us. It will speak for itself. We'll know what path to take, what calls to make, what not to do. It's all present for us. The only thing that overrides it is our ego, mind, personality telling us otherwise. It's a lack mentality. I don't have enough. I have to compete. I'm not good enough. All of that chatter. Well, purify it, cleanse it. At this stage, the aging mind of the individual peacefully reintegrates itself into the psychic matrix of their group and culture in serene adjustment to the vital needs of the whole, of which they see themselves as a fleeting part. So this means we're reintegrating ourselves into a collective whole. And we are that. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the U.S. There's inalienable human rights, dignities, opportunities, and they are not man-made. They are universal. They higher power. It is the soul source connection that comes through us. And so here, the unseen in this Sabian symbol for the collective is speaking to this massive need, and it's an adjustment. We're adjusting ourselves to come into harmony because our individuality will shine innately. It does not need to be forced upon others. Here's the moon and the sun for this Leo new moon. And this is also, by the way, in the same symbol that shows up in the chart when President Joe Biden announced his not seeking the presidential nomination. And and he was in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. The symbol is an old sea captain rocking himself on the porch of his cottage. The keynote is the quieted mind's recollections of crises and joys long past. The sea captain has steered the ship of his ego consciousness through seas and storms, maintaining the integrity of his individual selfhood while in close contact with the collective unconscious. Now retired, he may try to distill wisdom from his many experiences and from his victories over elemental forces. The swing of the child consciousness has now become a rocking chair, from which one can contemplate past as well as present scenes, gently moving as waves roll over the shore. Peace at last. At this third stage, we find the consciousness of old age, after having witnessed the spontaneous play of children close to protective nature, and the fashionable social parties of escaping adults. These three phases of mental development, so it's really taking us from our youth to our prime to old age. These three phases of mental development, the key word is quiet recollection. It's to see where we've been, to harness that wisdom. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And to harness that wisdom to advance in quiet recollection, to offer it forward, because it's peace at last. And I just want to bring this in before I forget, mindful of the time, but so with Columba, a dove, Independence Day, July 31st. This is from literally Martina McBride's Independence Day. Let freedom ring, let the white dove sing. Let the whole world know that today is a day of reckoning. Let the weak be strong, let the right be wrong. Roll the stone away, let the guilty pay. It's Independence Day. So again, there's a sense of awareness, consciousness, judgment, advance, revelation, unity in all of this. I want to get in just a couple more. This is Jupiter, and here again, end of the month, July 31st, crescent moon, ALDEBARAN, PLEIADES, Jupiter, Mars, conjunct. This display, the Sabian symbol, and this is both Columbia and Kamala Harris. A woman activist in an emotional speech dramatizing her cause. The keynote, a passionate response to a deeply felt new experience. What has been, quote, discovered not only needs to be discussed and tested through an intellectual exchange which permits its formulation, it also demands exterioration, meaning to be released, to be put forward. This implies the act of dealing with those who are still unaware of the new knowledge or realization, the last frontier. A public is needed, and it must be convinced. Its inertial resistance to change has to be overcome. A public is needed, and it must be convinced. Its inertial resistance to change must be overcome. This usually requires an emotional dramatization of the issues at stake. Here again, at the very start of the cycle, Aries 1, a woman is depicted, which means a person depending upon feelings and fiery images to sway the receptive public. Bonjour, Alex. So here we have, again, this beautiful image, Columbia, a fierce, independent woman representing liberty, the embodiment of liberty and justice, and the ideals that America, the United States of America, was founded upon. At this stage, we are dealing with the exteriorization of the original impulse, meaning the emergence from the vast ocean of potentiality, the vast ocean of unconsciousness, meaning the unseen. So the emergence from the vast ocean of potentiality, which constitutes human nature at all levels. Because this isn't just about the United States. This isn't just about this election. This is a world issue. This is a world moment, and it is a world opportunity. What is at stake is a process of communication of new experiences. The mind is called upon to perform its work, but what comes first is the action of that mind, which is moved passionately and which attempts to move other minds by passionate means. It's known as the proselytizing mind, and proselytizing, to recruit, persuade, or convert, especially to a new faith, institution, or cause. It can be to reveal what the moon reveals. It can be to passionately speak to what is before us. We already know where we've been. Master Jesus, to the disciples, you ask where you're going without knowing where you've been. We must learn the choices of the past in order, clean slate, redo, do-over, in order to not make those same choices as we advance, as we move forward. Tremendous opportunity. I'm going to post all of the Sabian symbols for this Leo new moon that go with this. Each one, there are so many beautiful ones. An unsealed letter is with Venus. Here's Venus representing the divine feminine, and it's about wisdom and opportunity. The realization by the individual that all thoughts and all messages are inevitably to be shared with all men, all humans, all mankind. See, it's not to be something secretive, shadowy, illicit. It's an open letter. It's an unsealed letter, which means there's no privacy involved or expected. We are all meant to receive. It's transparency. In the transparency, there's trust. And the key word for this is sharing. Many beautiful that all combine this. What the unseen would like us to close with is simply, again, I want to go back to these two images from the foodhistorian.com. I'll share my screen with you one last time just to show you this image of Columbia. Sow the seeds of victory. Sow the seeds of victory within yourself. Plant and raise your own vegetables, your own garden. And it doesn't matter, individual person, entrepreneur, small business, corporation, government, institutions. Sow the seeds of victory. Plant and nourish your garden. Do so in a manner that reaps greatness, nourishment. So sow the seeds of victory. Every garden, a munition plant. Every soul, every individual is a munition plant. And finally, will you have a part in victory? Because it's a choice. It is a choice to advance. It is a choice to embody the Aquarian age, that unity, oneness, harmony, goodness, greatness, we need not take from others to be great. If anything, we fail. By doing that, we fail. So will you have a part in victory? And victory is the ideal that is represented by Columbia and Columba, the dove, this fierce, independent woman, meaning divine feminine. Until next week, we will see where all of this goes in the new month of August. Until then, I hope, please let me know in the comments and everything. This was a very powerful, powerful, moving message for me personally. And I hope that I did it justice in conveying its opportunity and inspiring all of you to harness this moment and sow the seeds of victory and plant and tend to your garden and nourish and reap and develop something of great innate beauty and goodness. So until next week, be well, and please like, share, subscribe, follow, and go to dearjames.com and check everything out. I love you all so much. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful journey.